All right. Hi, guys. Sorry, had some technical difficulties. So I'm here. Had 5 minutes of internet delay, but that seems to always be an issue. All right, here we go. Exam 3 is tomorrow. For the first part, we need to identify the type of equation. So you're going to have another section like this on your test, but for this one, you're not going to be given the forms. So I'll put them up here for you, but you need to be able to recognize that one is standard. This one is slope-intercept. And then that is point slope. Okay, so this one right here, that's in standard form. This guy right here is in slope-intercept. This one's in point slope. And this guy right here is also in slope-intercept. So just like your last exam where you had the chart and you had to check them off, you're going to have to do the same type of thing, but these are not going to be given to you. So you need to be able to identify standard slope-intercept and point slope without given the formulas. You're also going to need to know these because you're expected to be able to write equations of lines without giving the format either. All right, so standard, that one's standard. Slope-intercept, I kind of wrote them on the same line. Point slope, and there you go. All right, identify equations parallel. Okay, parallel, and parallel, of course, means we're looking for the same slope. We're not interested in anything but the slope. We don't care about the y-intercepts. We don't care. All we care about is this. And in this case, our slope is 2. So you have a couple options. When you're already in slope-intercept or you're in point slope, so when you're in these two forms, you can see your slope right away. Your slope is right here. It's right there and right there. The only one you have to manipulate is this guy over here. When you're in these forms, your slope is right there. So this guy right here, all we're looking for is our slope. It's right there. And it's 2. So this one is parallel. So that one is okay. This one we're going to have to do a little work on because it's in standard form. Let's come back. This guy right here, the slope is -1/2. That's a no. It's not parallel. This one right here, there's a lot of confusion on this one on the last exam. Let me zoom in a little bit. It's not completely in slope-intercept form, but the slope's already on the correct side. So for me to put this one in slope-intercept form, I would just need to subtract 1 to both sides, and I would have y equals 2x minus 1. I'm looking for a slope of 2, so this guy's good. So he is okay. And then this one right here, again, is already there. We're not interested in our b value at all. So in y equals mx plus b, this has nothing to do with our parallel or perpendicular line. We're only interested in that, which of course is 2. So this guy is all right as well. I'm going to come back to this one in standard form right here. I'm going to write it over here. 4x plus 2y equals 16. And we need to put that into y equals mx plus b to see if our slope works out. So we're going to subtract 4x. And I'm going to get 2y is equal to -4x plus 16. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I get y equals -2x plus 8. -2 is not what we're looking for, so this guy is no. So we have yes, and a yes, and a yes. And again, questions like this on your exam are either circle the ones that are or check a box or those kind of things. So this is a review question. This is going to be on the exam as well. Putting things in certain forms, absolutely on your test. So this one wants it in standard form. You need to know that standard form is ax plus by equals c. You need it to look like this. So for this guy right here, we're going to distribute. The biggest problem I saw in my class was literally on this distribution part. It wasn't on anything else, which is surprising because this should be the basic, but Remember, this 3 goes to both of these, and if it's negative, that negative gets distributed to both. So I have 2x equals 3y plus 12. I'm close. My x is already on this side. I need this y over here. I'm going to subtract 3y to both sides. That's going to give me 2x minus 3y equals 12. And there's my answer in standard form. This one right here, easy points if you know the format. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, and in this formula, this one and this one are your point. That's here. Here's your x1, y1. Your slope is there, and it's not asking you to solve anything, to convert anything. It's literally plug this there, plug this one there. So it's going to be y minus 5. Now remember, this minus sign right here is part of the formula or part of the actual form. So if one of these is negative, make sure you change it up. So y minus 5 equals m, which is our slope, negative 1/4 x minus 4. That's your answer. It asks for it in point slope form. Leave your answer like that. Don't try and get fancy. Don't try and make things harder than they need to be. So point slope. All right. Another problem like this on your exam. This is also part of the review. All right. This is in slope-intercept form. So you don't have to do these in order. Some of the stuff you can see right away. One of the benefits of slope-intercept form is you get your y-intercept right away. You get your slope right away. So with zero math, you just have to know that they're here. Your y-intercept is 0, negative 4. Your slope is 4. Super easy for that part. Okay, that's an easy 2 points without doing any math. Just look at the equation and know where they belong. For your x-intercept, to find an x-intercept, you make y equal to 0 and solve. You don't need to put this back in standard form. You can do it straight from here. Let's just plug y in for 0 is equal to 4x minus 4. I'm going to add 4 to both sides, and I get 4x is equal to 4. Divide out the 4. X is equal to 1. So my x-intercept is 1, 0. It asks you to sketch a graph. On your exam, you'll be given graph paper, or you'll be given a graph, a coordinate plane or a Cartesian plane to actually do that in, but here I will do it real quick for you on a piece of graph paper. So sketching the graph, we're going to sketch it. All right. Y equals 4x minus 4. I'm going to start at negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. My slope is 4 over 1. I go up 4 over 1. And there we go. It makes sense. My x-intercept is at 1, 0. My y-intercept is at 0, negative 4. If you don't like to graph in slope-intercept form, you could have absolutely just plugged in your x-intercept and your y-intercept and connect the dots. So there's the graph. And then it wants to know if 1036 is on the line. So that's where we get back into the algebra portion of this. Is 1036 on the line? This is my x and my y. All I'm trying to do to see if this side equals this side. So let's plug it in. 36 is equal to 4 times 10 minus 4. 36 is equal to 40 minus 4. 36 does equal 36. So is 1036 on the line? Yes, it is. Okay. It also makes sense with our graph, certain things, just to help you out. 1036 is going to be up here in this quadrant. Okay, this line's constantly going up this way. It should not be a problem. If you had something like in a negative and a positive up here, like this is a negative x and a positive y, you could tell right away that something like that would not be on this line because it's not going to be up here in this quadrant at all. This line is going to continue in this fashion. All right. A lot of trouble with this on the last exam, so you're going to see it on this exam again. And you're going to be given a graph. It's going to ask you to write the equation of a line in y equals mx plus b form. To write this equation in y equals mx plus b form, you need your slope and you need your y-intercept. Okay, our y-intercept is given here at -1/2. Our slope is not, but we can find slope. We have 2 points. Remember, to find slope, it's y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Doesn't matter which ones you make x1, y1. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug these in. I've got 0 minus 2, y2 minus y1 all over x2, which is -1, minus a -5. That right there becomes positive. It's going to give me -2/4, which is -1/2. If you want to leave it like that, that's okay. I reduced it. So the equation of the line in slope-intercept form is y equals -1/2 x minus 1/2. Okay. If you wrote 2/4 again, not a problem. You can leave it like that. You don't have to reduce it there. All right, is my slope positive 1/2? No, it is not. You did it right there. Is my x-intercept at -1, 0? Yeah, it is. There's the x-axis, and it's crossing right there, so yes, it is. Is your y-intercept at 0? No, it's not. Your y-intercept is at -1/2. Does f of -5 equal 2? So some of you guys are still confused on this. What this says, that says f of -5 equals 2. This says when x is equal to -5, then y is equal to 2. Is that true? When x is equal to -5, y equals 2. Yes, it does. It's on the line. That point was given to you. So that's a yes. Again, these can be true, falses, yes, nos. And then is 5 -3 on the line? You have your equation of the line. You're going to plug these into that. So -3 is equal to -1/2 times 5 minus 1/2. I get -3 is equal to -5/2 minus 1/2. So far, so good. We're just plugging in for x and for y. Okay. If I want to subtract these, okay, I've got -3 is equal to -6 all over 2. So -3 equals -3. Yeah, that one's good. So when you plug that one in, that should not be a problem. All right. Write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So there it is again, slope-intercept form. That's y equals mx plus b. We are going to do, in order to do this first, you have to find the slope. So find the slope first. So y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Okay? And yeah, this is for the Algebra 1 class. So we're here. I have my x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug them in. I'm going to have 2 minus 6 all over 5 minus 0, which is going to give me -4/5. Okay, so there's your slope. If you need to put it in slope-intercept form, the only thing you're missing now is your y-intercept. You have a y, you have an m, and you have an x. You can pick and choose which point you'd like to use. I always think that this one's easier than this one because you have a 0 in it. And that means one of them will come out to be 0. I think that's always an easier point. Again, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug in to y equals mx plus b because I'm just looking for my b now. I'm going to plug this in and I'm going to get, let's see, 6 is equal to my slope, which is negative 4 over 5 times 0 plus b. Okay. That becomes 0, and b is equal to 6. I have my y-intercept, I have my slope, plug them in and you're good to go. Oh, sorry about that. Got bright. So for this one, y equals negative 4 over 5x plus 6. Okay, that one's done. There is a problem like this on your exam, so remember, find the slope first. You'll get partial credit even if you just find the slope and you get stuck someplace, so at least do the parts you know how to do. x1, y1, x2, y2, 4 minus 1 all over 5 minus 2 gets me 3 over 3, which is going to just equal 1. Okay, again, if you wanted to leave it as 3 over 3, that's fine, but hopefully you guys can see that you're going to reduce that. There's my slope. Again, it doesn't matter which point you use. Both of them are going to come out the same. I'm going to use this one, 2 and 1, just because the numbers are smaller. They're easier for me to multiply with. And so I'm going to plug them into y equals mx plus b. So I have y, which I'm going to use as 1, equals slope, which is 1, times x, which is 2, plus b. 1 is equal to 2 plus b. Subtract 2 from both sides. B is equal to negative 1. Okay, I found my y-intercept. I have my slope. Write the equation of a line. Y equals 1x. If you don't write the 1, it's not a big deal. Minus 1. Okay. Mr. Nakauchi calls those ghost ones because they don't necessarily need to be there, but it's there. Okay. Solving and graphing. Remember, for stuff like this, this guy right here is going to mean an open circle. So you're going to get a couple different point totals for things like this. If it has the equal to, okay, that's the closed circle. Looks like that. But for this one, because it's just less than or greater than equal to, or not equal to, you're just going to use the open circle. So let's solve. I'm going to do this first. Combine like terms. Negative 3n minus 3 is less than 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I get negative 3n is less than 6. I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 3, and when I do that, I need to remember to change the direction of my sign. When I multiply or divide by a negative with the variable here, I have to change the direction of my sign. So n becomes greater than negative 2. And your graph, you will have an open circle on negative 2, and n is greater than negative 2, so you're going to be coming to the right. You're coming this way. Let's color that in for you guys. So open circle to the right. Let's try this one. Distribute. Okay. So you can distribute that. Your numbers won't be this big on the test, but one of the clues, especially for stuff like this, is that if they have already written in your values here, if it's somewhere not on this, then maybe you did something wrong, because these are big clues as to what your answer should be. So let's go ahead and distribute that. We've got 12n plus 12 times 9, which I know is 108, but again, go back to your basic math. 9 times 2 is 18, carry the 1. 9 times 1 is 1, plus 1 is 10. Go back to doing math the way you guys know how to do math. You don't have to do anything in your head. Okay? Plus 108, is less than negative 132. I'm going to subtract 108 to both sides, and I get 12n is less than, 10, 4, negative 240. Okay, so I've got 12n is less than negative 240. I'm going to divide both sides by 12. I don't need to change the direction of my sign. We're allowed to have a negative here. I'm not dividing out by a negative, so it's going to stay like that. So don't worry about the direction of your sign there. And then 240, negative 240 divided by 12, n is going to be less than negative 20. So here's negative 20. We're going to have an open circle on negative 20. N is less than that. It's coming this way. So this guy right here, that's open circle as well. There are a couple of these on your test tomorrow. Just like that. Again, there's partial credit. You'll get a point for being able to graph it, maybe like a half a point for the open or closed circle, solving it correctly. So these have, these problems are worth multiple points. Okay, so true, false. Sometimes these are yes and no. Anytime you're going to have pi in it, it's going to be irrational. So that's true. This guy right here, x plus 3 equals x plus 3. When I subtract out the variable, I get 3 equals 3. That is not no solution, that is infinite solutions. So this guy right here is false. And then the quantity negative 1 squared equals negative 1 squared. This is false as well, because what this says negative 1 times negative 1, okay, which is, of course, positive 1. This one says negative 1 times 1, which is negative 1. So those are not equal. That's false. Okay, so new stuff. 7 is new stuff. What about questions like 12x is greater than 6 and there is no further information or graph? So if you don't have a graph, you just want me to do 12x is greater than 6. Okay, I'm going to divide out by 12. And I'm going to get x is greater than 1/2. If you have to draw on your own graph, okay, I would just put in 1/2. X is greater than 1/2. Open circle on 1/2. Go to the right. So my answer would be, graphically, it would look like this. Okay? No problem with that. But I think on your exam tomorrow, they actually put a graph on it. So it should help you out a little bit. All right. And then the super new stuff, the graphing, the stuff that everybody hates. All right, it's important. When you're doing an inequality, there are a few different things you need to pay attention to. I'm going to write this over. This is y is less than or equal to 4. When you have this one, that is a solid line. Okay, graph with the solid line. One like this, that is a dotted line or a dashed line. Okay, make sure you're good with that. So where does y equal 4? Y equals 4 right here on this guy right here. So I'm going to draw it here. It's going to be a solid line because we're including it. I'm going to do it in red. And y is less than or equal to negative 4. Okay, so when you shade, you just need to figure out, where is y always going to be less than? Is it going to be above this line or below this line? Less than negative 4 is down this way. So that's where we shade. Okay, this one's a little easier to see. On the rest of these, I will use a test point for all of them. If your teacher doesn't make you use test points, that's okay. If some of you guys are going to be able to see it better than others, that's okay too. For me, unless it's easy like this one for me, I always like to pick a test point. And that's because when you get into higher math and you have to graph two parabolas or a parabola and a line or sine curves, you're really only going to be able to do it with a test point. Okay, so let's do this one. All right, I'm going to graph this. I'm going to put this in y equals mx plus b form because I like that form better. I'm going to subtract 3x to both sides. And I'm going to get negative 2y is greater than negative 3x minus 6. What about when there's two lines? You're not graphing systems this time, so you won't have to worry about two lines on here. We're only graphing one inequality at a time. You're not going to have to graph a system. But I can show you if you just want to see it. Let me finish this one. Okay, I'm going to divide everything out by a -2. Careful here, I'm dividing by a negative, so I need to change the direction of my sign. This is going to give me y is less than 3/2x plus 3. Okay, so when I graph this, I'm going to start at 3, and I'm going up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2, 1, 2. Yeah, I gave a couple kids in my class, I gave my class a few where they had multiple lines and they're shading, but that's going to be on the next test, so don't worry about that. What is important for this one? Dotted line. Or dashed line. Okay, so we're here. All right, so I've got y is less than 3/2 x plus 3. I'm going to pick a test point. If you know where you're supposed to shade because you can just see it, by all means, do what you got to do. Okay, but I'm going to show you guys how to do this because mathematically it works out the best. So the easiest point I can find is right here. It's 0, 0. This line is not going through it. I'm going to use 0, 0 here. And I'm going to plug in 0 for x and 0 for y. And I'm going to see if it's true. So if the statement is true, when I plug in 0, 0, that means that this is a solution and I get to shade everything down here. If I plug in 0, 0 and this is false, it doesn't work out, then I know that I need to shade the other way. So here I go. I have 0 is less than 3/2 times 0 plus 3. That goes away. Is 0 less than 3? Yes, it is. 0 is less than 3. So this is true. That works. This point works, which means I get to shade on this side. Okay, so a couple things that would have screwed you up here. 1, the dotted line. 2, not flipping the direction of your sign because you're dividing out by a negative. Don't let that trip you up. Make sure you stick with that. Okay, this is actually the hardest one. These are pretty straightforward. This guy right here, f of x, remember that's just a fancy way of saying y. So this is just like y is less than or equal to 1/6x minus 1. Graph it like you would a line. Start at -1. And I'm going to go up 1/6. Up 1/6. Rise over run. When I do this, it is a solid line. Okay, solid line. And y is less than 1/6 x minus 1. I'm pretty sure you can see you're going to shade below, but I'm going to pick the test point 0, 0. Okay, and so we can see how this works. So here I am. I'm going to plug in 0 is less than or equal to 1/6 times 0 minus 1. 0 is less than -1. Okay, that's not true. 0 is not less than or equal to -1. Not true. So I can't shade here. This is not a solution. If I plug that in, that's not true. So I know I need to shade down here. Now this one's a little bit easier to see because I know that y needs to be less than this line. Here's my line. Obviously coming down this way is less than that line. Okay, this guy right here, again, f of x, just a fancy way of saying y. Graph it like you would a line, starting at 3. There's my y-intercept. I'm going up 2/3. Again, another solid line. And let's plug in my test point to see which way I'm going to shade. I have 0 is greater than or equal to, got that there, 2/3, should be positive 2/3 times 0 plus 3. That guy goes away. 0 is greater than or equal, 0 is greater than or equal to 3. No, 0 is not greater than or equal to 3. Okay, so this is not true. If I were to pick numbers down here, that wouldn't be true. We know 0 is not greater than 3. So I have to shade up here. So a problem like this for your exam is worth 3 points. You'll get a point for graphing it correctly, a point for shading it correctly, a point for dotted solid, or maybe a half a point for that. So you have a lot of opportunity to get partial credit on here. But always remember, you need to shade. Anytime there's an inequality, you need to shade. For 2 lines, if we wanted to graph 2 lines, we could put another line on here so you guys could see it. Okay. I'll just do it right here so you can see it. If there's 2 lines, you're looking for where all the shaded area overlaps. Again, this is not on your test tomorrow, but there's a question on it, so I'll do this anyway. So let's just say y is less than or equal to 4, and I'm going to give you x is greater than -2. Okay? I'll grab another marker so you guys can see in a different color. Okay? So x is greater than -2. Here's -2. I would come in. I probably shouldn't use that one. Let me use a darker one. It's going to be a dotted line. So this way. Okay. And x is greater than -2, which means it's going to come this way to shade. So I'm going to shade on this part. And again, I'm only interested in the part where both of these lines overlap. So it would be right in here. So this is a part that would overlap, and I would want my answer to be this. This would be my answer. I'm going to do it in green right now for you guys, if there's 2 lines. But again, that's for the next exam. Y is less than 4. Okay, so here's 4, where y is equal to 4, and we're going less than 4. Y is always equal to 4 on this line. Okay, this way is x is 4, right? This is y is 4. What about y is less than 4x? Okay, so that one, grab this one. All right, so you want me to just do y is less than 4x? That's your slope, right? So your slope is here. Your b term, like if this was in like y equals mx plus b, no worries. Your y-intercept is just 0. So you would start here at 0. Okay? So if we have this, what did you want? Y is less than, you want y is less than 4x. Okay? Y is less than 4x. This is what I'm graphing right now. I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. I'm going to do a dotted line. Okay? There we go. Do a dotted line. Okay. So on this one, I can't use 0, 0 as my test point because I'm going through 0, 0. So I can't use 0, 0 as my test point. So I'm going to pick another number, super easy, that's not on the line, but it's clearly over here or over here. I'm going to do a positive number. So let's just do 2, 2. Okay, I'm going to plug in 2, 2 and see if this side works. Yeah, you could use 1, 1. You could use 6, 1. I mean, you can use anything over here because you're looking at everything on this side or everything on this side. So you could use 1, 1, not a problem. I'm going to use 2, 2. So 2 is less than 4 times 2. 2 is less than 8. Yes, it is. So this side is good with solutions. Okay. Even if you plugged in 1, you wanted to do 1, so you're going to get 1 is less than 4 times 1, which is 4. 1 is less than 4. Yes, it is. You're good to go. If it's not, we shade the other side. Correct. So if this is not true, like if this came out to be like not, oh, here, we can plug in a point. Let's do a -1. So here, let's keep your same one, y equals 4x here, okay? And let's take a point over here. Let's do -1, positive 2. Okay, so let's plug in this point. We have -1, positive 2. All right, I have 2 is less than 4 times -1. 2 is less than -4. 2 is not less than -4. That's false. Okay, so we know we can't shade there. Okay, so yeah, just again, I always like to pick 0, 0, but in the example you gave me, I can't pick 0, 0 because 0, 0 is my my y-intercept, but you can pick any other numbers that you want and pick easy ones. Make your life easy. All right. That is that for the test. All right. So new things on the test. There are 3 graphs of inequalities. So you are going to have to do those. You are going to, one of the things that I did not put on here. Okay. Well, we'll do this. This stuff right here, new. You're going to have to do that. The number lines. Writing the equation of the line. Okay, not going to work, or do this one. Okay, so you have to do that. That's new. Everything else is review. So we've got review. These 2 things are review. The one thing I didn't put on this review sheet is it a solution? So when we look at these graphs, let me take this graph right. Let me just find I'll regraph this. What if we made the point -2, -2, -2, -2 down here? It still wouldn't work. That still wouldn't work. That's going to be false. Can we do the new one again? The new one again after this. What new one? Hold on. Okay, let me graph this one real quick so I can show you guys. Is it a solution? So this guy's here at -1. We go up 1 over 6. It's a solid line. Okay, we shaded down here. Okay, and part of your exam is going to be, is it a solution, yes or no? All right, so if they tell you, if they want 3, 3, is that a solution? No, it's not. It's not in the shaded area. Okay, so 3, 3, not a solution. If they ask you to give a solution, anything in the shaded area works. Okay, so I can put 4, -1. 4, -1, that guy is right there. He's a solution. That works. When your line is solid, like this, anything on the line counts. So if they ask you, is 6, 0 a solution? In this situation, yes, it is, because it is including this line. So for this, it is. If it's a dotted line, it's not a solution. So there's a section on, is it a solution? So basically, is it in the shaded area? If you don't have a graph, is it a solution? Just plug it in for X and Y. And if it's true, then it is. If it's not true, then it's not. Okay, you're asking me, can we do the new one again after this? What's the new one? I need more clarity. Line solid means you can stand on it. Just came up with that. I love it. Yeah, you can stand on it, okay? It counts. Dotted line, like this one up here, 0, 0, not a solution, okay? It's not a solution. That doesn't work, okay? Because if I plug in 0, 0 here, 0 is less than 4 times 0. 0 is not less than 0. That's not true. It's not less than 0. If it were equal to, that would work, but dotted lines, you can't be on the line. It doesn't count as a solution, okay? Down here, solid line on the line counts as a solution. All right. So tomorrow's test, you're going to see same format as test number 2. Again, you're going to get the box with these. You're going to have to identify equations parallel or perpendicular. I don't remember which one. You're going to have to write things in standard form, converting. This guy up here, going to have to do this. All right, find an x-intercept, a y-intercept, a slope. Is it on the line? That kind of stuff. One of these, write the equation of a line. 2 of these, solving inequalities on a number line. And 3 of these where you graph. There is an extra credit question on the exam. It is going to have to do with graphing inequalities, so that should be fun. Well, I think it's fun. I like shading, but last year, just so you guys know, these problems, inequalities and shading, was the #1 problem we had in all of our math classes. So if you guys can master this now, your next exams will be a lot easier. Okay, do you have any more questions? Anything else you guys want me to go over? Again, I have I have class first period, so I'm in 109. If you need before school, it's always Mr. Chong in room 24, Mr. Finch in 107. If you want to come find me at lunch because you have third or fourth, come find me at lunch. If I'm not in 109, just come knock on my office. I'll be in 112. Okay, so if you need help for third or fourth period, come by at lunch and I can help you guys out as well. All right, good night. Good luck. If you did not get this review sheet, or I have this other one I gave my class if you wanted more practice. If you want this one, I can send you guys this one. Just send me an email and I will forward this to you guys. This one has this cool kind of thing right here, identifying parallel and perpendicular lines. So if you want that, I can do that. You want me to do the top right? Hold on. You want me to do this one? Like solving it? I'll solve this one for you. Okay, subtract 3x. And I get negative 2y is greater than negative 3x minus 6. I divide everything out by a negative 2. And because I'm dividing by a negative, I have to change the direction of my sign. So y is less than positive 3 over 2x plus 3. Okay, so there's 3. Up 3, 2, 3, over 2. Dotted line. Okay, and then shade. I'm going to pick 0, 0. 0 is less than 3 halves times 0 plus 3. 0 is less than 3. Yes, it is. Shade right there. Okay, that's the hardest one, where you have to just put it. And again, don't forget, anytime you divide by a negative, flip the direction of your sign. Okay, so again, if you want this other review sheet, shoot me an email. I'll be up. I'll send you guys an email for, I don't know, like the next 15 minutes or so. I'll check my emails, and if you want it, it'll be there. Here's my email address, TLT4761. Okay, TLT4761, and that's at LAUSD. So if you want that other review sheet, because you're just dying to do more math, then email me and I'll get it over to you guys. If not, good luck, and I will see some of you guys tomorrow.